So recently, I decided to take on the challenge of learning and mastering every single character in Guilty Gear Strive, and with that, I wanted to start off with Jacko Valentine, since she has always been a character I've been interested in playing since I first got the game. But after finding out how difficult she was to play, I decided that I would come back to her after I got a little better at Guilty Gear, so that I could actually learn her and properly understand her kit. And now that I have a little over 200 hours of playtime and the motivation to complete my new challenge, I will be spending the next 10 hours learning how to play Jacko. So, on March 13th, I opened Guilty Gear to begin my journey. Also, if you enjoy my content and want to catch it live, I stream every day on Twitch at 7 p.m. CST, so come stop by to give me any tips on the game I'm playing, or just come say hello and hang out. For the first hour, I spent my time in the training area watching YouTube videos on how to play Jacko and learning how she plays in general, and I decided that for the start of these types of videos, I'll spend at least an hour of the 10 hours I've given myself looking up guides and researching my character, so then I can make a small guide segment, so in the future if I ever forget how to play a character, I can always look back at my older videos. And I'm going to explain what I learned starting with Jacko's regular moves first, and then getting into the unique stuff with her minions after. One thing I found on Jacko that I thought was really important was her bread and butter combo starting option, which is 2K and 2D. These two moves go hand in hand and set you up for success in a lot of combos that involve minions. I also use close slash and 5 heavy slash since they also worked pretty good as well, but it wasn't as safe as the other options. But Jacko doesn't really do much with just her regular moves since she heavily relies on setting up her minions and functioning around them, since when your minions are down, it opens up your opportunities for combos a lot more. The minions have 4 different moves that you can make them do, which are attack, guard, explode, and recall. It depends on which situation you're in, but usually the ones you use most often are the attack and guard options. But one thing that's really tricky to learn on Jacko is trying to set up the minions without them despawning, because they despawn if you get hit or if the minion gets hit. And hands down, the best time to put out a minion without a doubt is when you hit somebody with a hard knockdown, since it guarantees that you will get the minion out, and it will also allow you to keep the pressure on since you now have more access to your kit. You can also set up something called sandwich pressure, where you can place a minion behind someone so that you can apply even more pressure to your opponent, since if they block the minion, it will only push them towards you, and if they don't block it, it gets you into a pretty free combo and you get a good amount of damage. Her first super is not anything special, it's like any other one where if it's blocked it does nothing, and if it's not blocked then you get a lot of damage, but her second super enhances her minions so that they're either invincible or your minion gauge charges faster so you can use more abilities. I'm not quite sure where you can use these yet since I'm not a professional, but it can be useful at times. Anyways, after I got a pretty decent grasp on how to play Jacko, I was just rolling up on hour 2, where I decided to go into tower to see what I needed to work on, and it was very apparent that I needed to learn combos since I didn't know any. But one issue with Jacko is her combos are very strange compared to other characters, since in order to begin your combo, you need a minion out on the field, and the one I was practicing that a person in my Discord showed to me, which you should totally join the server by the way, was a little hard and I kept forgetting to use it. But although I had no combos and watching me fight was kind of sad, having a good defense against these guys paid off pretty well, and I was able to struggle my way to victory enough so that I wouldn't go down a floor, but I also didn't go up at all since I was also losing a lot. But after I played the rest of hour 2, I got off for the night and decided I would practice some combos the next day, so in hour 3 I could hopefully yield better results. For hour 3, I started off by practicing a couple of combo trials that people had posted on Guilty Gear, but all of them just kinda sucked, and it was a waste of time anyways, because the ones I did manage to complete and remember, I never used because I just forgot how to do them the second I hopped into tower again. So unfortunately, hour 3 was not what I hoped for, and it didn't have any better results. It actually had worse ones, since I was just straight up getting bullied the entire time by all the enemies. Like, look at this Potemkin. Like, this guy had me already locked in, already killed. I had 1 HP, and then he spared my life just to taunt so I could hit him with a super, and then the second it ended, he killed me right away. So after losing pretty much every match I loaded into for hour 3, I decided to take a break for a little bit and come back with a refreshed view so I could stop making as many mistakes and making dumb decisions since I was blinded by anger. So after a little break, I returned fresh as can be, and I spent hour 4 practicing a combo so that I could hold my own in a fight against an opponent. This is where I started thinking learning Jacko was a big mistake, since although I had a lot of information on how to play Jacko, putting it into practice was very difficult. Not because I was struggling with the inputs, I was doing those just fine, but because of this. My fingies, they hurt so bad. After practicing the Jacko combo for a little while, I noticed my fingers were starting to hurt from how much I was having to do with my hands, since I'm not really used to holding buttons down for my inputs. but I had to hold down the punch button so that Jacko would hold the minion, so then I could jump and throw the minion over my opponent's head so I could get sandwich pressure. And on top of that, I used the same finger I used for the minion input to also dash, so I would have to move really fast so I could complete the rest of the combo, which was making my fingers hurt as I practiced more. But after I practiced the combo for about 45 minutes, I hopped into a room with the person who taught me how to play Guilty Gear Fire Master so I could get some practice against someone who can point out my mistakes and everything that I was doing wrong. And I definitely think practicing that combo was a really good idea because in hour 5, I was finally able to hold my own against my opponent, even though he was a lot better than I am. And although I lost a lot, I was still able to do some damage, and I was pretty happy that my practice paid off and I wasn't just getting instantly rolled. And Fire Master also helped me weed out a bunch of mistakes that I was making, so I could maybe do a lot better and dominate in tower the next day. I got on the next day for hour 6 and I decided that I would practice the combo until I got it right since I really wanted to be able to use it in a real match, and after literally an entire hour I finally managed to get it down. So for hour 7 I got into tower and said that I wouldn't get off until I was either floor 8 or I burned through the last 3 hours of the challenge. For my first match I went up against an Ava, and it was really tough to try and set up my minions because I was always afraid of getting owned by Ava's keyform, since if she got into her strong state I would have a lot of trouble trying to set up my minions. So I was always trying my hardest to avoid that, and it ended up working out surprisingly well. It definitely wasn't easy, but after a really close match, I managed to squeak out my first win for hour 7. For my second match, I went up against a Ram Lethal Valentine who plays just like Abba. The only difference is that Ram is always in her strong state. It was very difficult for me to try and pull off any of my combos, and getting my minions out was also really hard, so I kind of just had to struggle and keep my distance, making sure to avoid her corner pressure. But after a not so fun match, I won the best 2 out of 3 just as we rolled up on hour 8. For the first match of hour 8, I went up against a soul bad guy, and I was expecting to get hard rolled since he was a much higher level than I was. But I actually ended up mixing him completely, and I easily 3-0'd him without a problem, solidifying my spot in floor 7, which left me one single floor away from where I usually sit in floor 8. So with that in mind, I was hoping that I could maybe make it to floor 8, or maybe even make it to my personal highest of floor 9 in the last 2 hours of the challenge. Once I got into floor 7, I went up against a Kai Kisuke, and like the soul bad guy, I won the best 2 out of 3 with ease. There was literally nothing that could stop me because I was on fire. And when I went to play my next match, I saw the most beautiful notification above my profile, which meant I was in reach of hitting floor 8 on Jacko. So, as I loaded in against this happy chaos, I was getting nervous since if I lost here, I most likely would be able to hit floor 8 or even get close to floor 9 by the end of the challenge. And after winning the first round, I was feeling pretty confident that I was going to win. That was a good swap.
Perfect.
I'm sorry. That was amazing. Oh yeah, I can't block. Nice one. Nice one. I'm not quite sure what that was all about, but... okay. Hey, let's go on floor 8. Let's go. Dude, I'm back. I'm so back. And after winning, I finally was back in floor 8. And for the rest of hour 8, I played against that happy chaos, getting a clean 3-0 before embarking on my last hour. And funny story, I actually recorded the final hour and just found out that it doesn't actually work. And I was gonna re-record the final hour before I posted it until I found out that Guilty Gear had this giant source code leak, or Arc System Works had this giant source code leak, and it revealed a lot of the newer characters like Lucy and Unica, which since people were playing at Evo Japan, I was just assuming that we were all going to be able to see it eventually. But Unica got leaked and all this other stuff got leaked, and people have been saying that if you go play online, there is a chance that you could get a virus on your computer. And I'm not totally sure if that's actually true or if that's just not real since it's the internet, but I also don't have any proof that it's not true. So I didn't really want to take any risks by playing online and getting a virus on my computer because that would really suck. So I just ended up chipping you guys out on the final hour. So that's my bad for accidentally clickbaiting. Anyways, with that being said, I did really enjoy practicing Jacko. It was nice trying someone who is really difficult since it opened my eyes on things I can do on other characters, and when I went to practice Elfelt for another video I plan on doing sometime soon, I caught myself using 2K2D a lot and trying to lab a combo based off of that, since it was kind of like engraved in my muscle memory. I definitely think Jacko is a fun character, but she's not really my flavor of character, since I don't really enjoy doing set plays that much, and I also just really like running down my enemy. But now that I have a basic knowledge on how to play her, I can mark her off on the list of characters I need to learn. Finally, I would just like to say, if you like this type of content, please make sure to go and like and subscribe and leave a comment on who you think I should play next. Lastly, thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.